Big announcement of the West Coast Eagles yesterday and caught a few people on the hop. They kept this one under wraps.
So did he.
Not the fact that he was returning, but the role. New West Coast Eagles head of football is John Worsfold. Starts November 4. Woosha, congratulations. Appreciate your time. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I feel deceived, to be perfectly honest with you, Woosh. We spoke several times publicly about you joining the board. You refused to poo-poo it. You could have just said, hey, Scotty, I'll going somewhere bigger.
Yeah, I know, Scotty. You were too intent bagging the past, bagging me, ripping me apart, and you should have been looking to the future.
Hey, Woosh, you've talked about, do you think it's a great time to be back in football after 4 years in the corporate world, and you've done, a wonderful space here. You've always had a sort of hand in at West Coast, keeping an eye on it whenever there's been an opportunity to go back and return and add some, past, whether it was be under Adam Simpson or the like, or when Daisy Pearce arrived back at the football club. When did this become real, that this job was going to be there for you, and how quickly did it pick up momentum?
Picked up momentum fairly quickly. It was only maybe 3 weeks or so ago, about that. I spoke to Pikey and, we just talked about how he'd been going in his first year in the role and what he'd learnt and what he thought was going to help the club going forward. And he talked about this role. And, I wasn't considering or looking to get back into football, but the role just sounds like a great role to be able to use all the experience I've gathered over so many years in the game and at a few different clubs, and to support a new coaching group, and also the fact that when I left coaching the West Coast back in 2013, it was just the senior men's team. Since then, the WAFL team came into play, and then the AFLW team. So very different environment. So I'm really keen to see, what value I can add to help them get all three programs running exceptionally well.
I heard you, or read somewhere, I may have heard it as well, that you talked yesterday in regards to you believe there was stand corrected on this too, Woosh, that you believe the West Coast Eagles have been slow in declaring publicly they're in a rebuild phase. Are they in a rebuild phase, or is it only just starting now?
No, I think they've been going through it for a few years, and I'm not actually a big believer in the word rebuild. I think we know the AFL system is cyclic. We do admire Sydney and Geelong for the way they've been able to maintain reasonably high positions on the ladder in between premiership opportunities. But the facts are that those premiership opportunities or premiership wins still come at a similar rate as the clubs that maybe take bigger dives. So that's just the way the system works. It's really the key is how you plan when you're going into that period post-premiership, and how quickly you can see what your next premiership squad's going to look like and start to put the building pieces into place. And that does take time. That's why clubs don't get onto it quickly. That period of struggling can be stretched out. And I think in the past, West Coast have shown that after premiership eras, they do have slumps, but they do plan well to come out of them fairly quickly.
Well, there's been a lot of talk for a number of years now that the playing group has been able to run their own race. Now, that seems excessive, but there have been standards or that have slipped, or that it's bordering on the inmates running the asylum type stuff. How much do you buy into that? And they are comments from outside the four walls, but how much do you buy into that, and how much do you think that needs to just pivot just a little bit back around to the point where, hey, you're employees of this club, you'll do as you're told when you're told to do it, but in the right way?
I don't buy into it at all, because I haven't really even heard it, mate, other than you telling me, and you're saying that, that's people's assumptions from outside the club. So the best way for me to assess that is get in and talk to everyone and get a feel for what it's like, and then I'll make my judgments from there. But, absolutely. I mean, players are employees. They're professional athletes. They've got experts that are put in place, resources put in place to, and I've always believed that coaching groups and footy clubs are there to give young athletes every opportunity to achieve their dreams, achieve the best they can possibly be. the best athletes are the ones that drive themselves and use those resources to get to where they want to get to. But some do need a push along from their mentors as well. So you've got to find that balance, and I think that's the key thing I'll be looking for within the footy club. That a lot of players will want to drive the standards. Everyone has to buy into it. You have to all be aligned. From the youngest first-year players, understanding what they're walking into, through to the coaches that have been involved for a fair while.
From an outsider looking in, and now you're on the inside looking out a little bit, John, do you think West Coast, under a new coach and a few coaching changes and structures, and I think you've still got to get ahead of development, player development, not too sure whether that's been filled or not or what the future looks like there, but your appointment as well, do you think that the football club can return quickly as a contender or as a force, or do you think it's going to be a bit of a slow burn?
Like I said, it will take time, and the slow burn. If you look at Hawthorn's pathway from their last flag in 2015, and then a few years first with Clarkson, and then Sam Mitchell's first year or two. Finding their way and putting things into place, the pieces of the puzzle through the draft, and then learning the game plan, and then getting consistent games into those young players. And it all came together pretty quickly this year. So, for West Coast, we're a little bit behind that, but those pieces of the plan have to be really clear to everyone. And, I believe, you can move from being a team that's struggling to even look like winning games to really competing in every game strongly, and then therefore very quickly winning those extra games that put you in the hunt for the top 8 again. But time-wise, it doesn't happen in 6 months. It doesn't happen in 12 months. It's a lot of things have to come together really well.
This probably needs a longer answer. We haven't got a whole lot of time, but have you got a stance on the WAFL club, Woosh, and is that something that maybe in 12 months' time you say, right, we need to change something here? It's been depleted for a while. We know that for a couple of years ago with injuries, but is it something that maybe in 12 months you say we go back to an alignment, or do you think that the WAFL program has absolute merit and can be competitive?
Yeah, again, I'll need to dig into that and see, what's held it back. We sort of understand that with all the injuries that the club had over a couple of years, they weren't able to field an experienced team at all in the WAFL. But, I was a big believer when I was coaching that was going to be the best development pathway for our players. I then saw the VFL system working in Melbourne and how it assisted the clubs over there to develop their players. So I still believe strongly that is the best development pathway. But West Coast every team needs to be competitive in the WAFL. We certainly need, for the players to develop, they need to be able to compete strongly on the field. So we'll have a look at how we get back and make sure that is happening. A competitive WAFL team, I think, is our best development pathway.
You sound excited, Woosh. You sound excited about this.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
No, I'm excited. I think, I can't underestimate the benefit of actually having a break from the game. It's 4 years away, and it was really my first complete break away from the AFL system, from when I was 18 years old. How it's given me the opportunity to look from the outside, see how other industries operate, and things they put in place to deliver maximum results. So
good on you.
It's really freshened me up, given me some great insights into where I think footy clubs can keep getting better.
Congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thank you very much.
John Worsfold, new West Coast Eagles head of football.